Hi guys, welcome to my first ever middle grade book haul. I've never done this before, so please bear with me as I go through this. We have been sent so many amazing looking books over the last few months from different publishers, so I'm going to show you just a few from our pile that came out between January and March. The first one on my pile is The Lotteries Plus One by Emma Donoghue. This is Emma Donoghue's first middle grade book, but you may know her as the author of Room, which was turned into an Oscar-winning movie, I believe last year. This is the story of a great big mixed family living in a huge house in Toronto. Everything is happy and great, and then something changes and they all have to readjust. I've only read the first few chapters of this one so far, but I'm really loving it. This one will be available on March 28th. The next one on my list is The Icarus Show by Sally Christie. This one came out on January 3rd, and it deals with bullying and school stuff and some friendships, and it sounds like a really interesting read. Next up is The Harlem Charade by Natasha Tarpley. This one came out on January 31st. It is a mystery detective story that all takes place in Harlem. This one also talks about art and art thieves, as well as being a great diverse read, so check this one out. Next up is Hear the Wolves by Victoria Scott. This one comes out on March 28th. This one's about a girl named Sloane whose dad and sister go away for what is supposed to be just one night. And then they don't come back when they're supposed to, and there's a blizzard, and some wolves start hunting her, and it sounds like a really exciting adventure survival story. Next up, we've got Who Let the Gods Out by Maz Evans, also out on March 28th. This would be a great choice for anybody who's interested in mythology. So the main characters in this story have to get Zeus out of retirement in order to help him fight off some evil demons. It sounds like a very cool take on a mythological story. I have a feeling that this one would be great for anybody who is a fan of Percy Jackson. Next up, we have The Ethan I Was Before by Ali Standish. This one came out on January 24th. The Ethan I Was Before is all about how one moment can totally transform your life, but doesn't necessarily need to define your life. Next, we have Me and Marvin Gardens by Amy Serig King. I am totally intrigued by this one, and it's definitely high on my TBR list. It's about a little boy named Obi who discovers an animal named Marvin that isn't like any animal that we've ever met before. Sort of half pig, half dog, half other animals. It's got some environmental story to it, and friendship, and animals, and it just sounds like a really neat read. Next is one I'm really excited for. It's Olga and the Smelly Thing from Nowhere by Elise Gravel. Elise Gravel is one of my favorite illustrators. I think she's so funny, and this book looks hilarious. It is about Olga, the amazing child scientist who studies all sorts of animals, and it's full of sort of gross out humor, but not too gross, and just silly, funny, quirky illustrations. This book just came out on March 14th. Next up, we have The Someday Birds by Sally J. Pla. This is the story of Charlie, who has to move across the country with his family after his dad comes back from Afghanistan, where he is a war journalist. This is a really great coming-of-age family story, and it's been recommended for anybody who loved counting by sevens or fish in a tree. So if you like those, definitely check this one out. This one came out on January 24th. Next up is Matilda, Bright and Tender by Holly M. McGee. This is a book about friendship and loss and love, and I know you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but I love this cover. This one comes out in March. Next up is Bronze and Sunflower by Chao Wen-Xuan, who is the winner of the 2016 Hans Christian Andersen Award. So I have really high hopes for this one. This is the story of Sunflower, who is sent from a city that she has grown up in all her life to go to school in a rural village in China. And it deals with poverty and family and friendship. Chao Wen-Xuan wrote this book in Mandarin, and it's been translated into English by Helen Wang, and this book comes out in March. Next, we have The Silver Gate by Kristen Bailey. This is about a boy named Elric who has to go and hide in the woods with his family because his little sister was born with a genetic disorder, and the town rules say that she should be left out in the woods by herself. So this is a really interesting mix of a family story and a fairy tale, and I think it looks really cool. This one came out on January 10th. Next, we have Miss Ellicott's School for the Magically Minded by Sage Blackwood. Sage Blackwood is also the author of the Jinx series, which was wildly popular. So this is the story about a bunch of girls who grow up in a private school that teaches both magic and decorum and how to be a very proper lady. After a series of mysterious events, they have to drop their ladylike demeanor and work out their magic in order to save their world. This book comes out on March 21st. Next, we have the first in a brand new sci-fi middle grade series that called Chronicle of the Dark Star. So this is the first one, called Last Day on Mars by Kevin Emerson. This takes place in Earth year 2213, where Earth is no longer livable and everyone has moved to Mars, but it's only a temporary solution. So they have to figure out how to survive and where to go next. This book came out on February 14th. Next, we have A Single Stone by Australian author Meg McKinley. This is another one that so far I've only had a chance to read a few chapters of, but I'm dying to get back to it. It's a dystopian future book. The story is about a group of girls who are bred to remain as small as possible so that they can fit into the tiny cracks in the rocks in the mountains in order to harvest the mineral that they need to survive. This one is recommended for 10 and up because it is a bit dark, but it's really, really well written, and I've enjoyed every word that I've read so far. This one comes out in March 2017. And finally, we have O.C. Daniel by Wesley King. This one actually came out in 2016. So this is the story about a boy named Daniel who suffers from OCD and is trying very hard to make sure that nobody else notices that. Until one day he gets a note from a secret person asking him for their help. So the story goes from there, and it's just a really great account of what it's like to live with OCD and the fact that lots of people have to deal with it. So a big thank you to Scholastic, HarperCollins, Simon & Schuster, and Candlewick Press for sending us all these amazing pre-order copies. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this and would like to see more, please subscribe to our channel and feel free to leave comments down in the section below. Happy reading, and thanks for being awesome.